Hello everyone, happy Tuesday. Thanks so much for joining me tonight. My name is Alyssa Thomas from Penguin and Fish, where we make lovely and quirky hand embroidery patterns and kits. And I'm the author of Sew and Stitch Embroidery, and I'm here every weeknight at 8:30 p.m. Central Time, where we relax and craft and chit chat and we work on a project together. Right now we are finishing up the Unicorn, the Hemlock Forest Friends Unicorn by Heidi Boyd. Look how cute! By Heidi Boyd from Heidi Boyd Crafts. And we actually finished the kit last night, but I thought we'd try and sculpt her little tail and mane a little bit more with some with some needle felting. I'm so used to saying needle turn applique all the time, so not that. We're going to do some needle felting, which is basically sculpting wool with a barbed needle, and we'll talk about that a little bit. So I'm going to do a little demo on needle felting, and then we will go and sculpt Heather's hair a little bit. So Heather the unicorn. But we finished it up. We technically finished the kit last night, but I thought we'd have fun with the hair a little bit. So if you want to grab a kit, this was made from the kits. I have a link to Heidi's kit on her website in this Facebook post. And there's also a PDF pattern if you have all the supplies ready to go already. But the kit comes with everything, even the stuffing to put inside the little unicorn and everything. So I definitely recommend the kit. But we'll play around with some needle felting tonight. Here's another example of some needle felting where it's actually kind of done as sculpture. So we'll make maybe something like this tonight, and then we'll also sculpt her hair a little bit. So, all right, guys, thanks again for joining me. And just one last reminder, today is the last day until 10:30 p.m., so an hour after we get done here, for the Penguin and Fish special, where if you buy $40 on penguinandfish.com, you get a special gift with purchase that I curate and pick for you. That's worth at least $20 and has actually been worth around $30. So that ends tonight at 10:30 p.m. Central Time. Just the last reminder. And all right, that's that. Let's flip around and get going on this. Hello, everyone, for joining me. Thank you so much. So here's our cute, adorable little Heather. So you can see her hair is kind of all over the place right now, and that's what we're going to play with a little bit tonight. But first, I want to kind of show you some of the ideas of needle felting. So it starts out as like fluffy roving like this, but the more you agitate it with the needle, the more you can sculpt it. And you can see like this, all the fibers are together a whole lot more than how fluffy this is. So we'll play around with that. Maybe we'll even make a little bird that can hang out with our unicorn here. So we'll do that. This is my little bundle of needle felting supplies. I always kind of like to keep each craft together, located together. So, you know, I just dug through my crafts and was able to find all the stuff I needed right away. So let's check out what's in here. So I have this hard piece of styrofoam, and you can get this with a needle felting kit. I did put a link for a needle felting kit and one of these Clover needle felting pen deals. I put links to that in the Facebook post here. All right, so I've been just collecting random wool bits. So the fiber, Sharon, it has to be 100% wool for this to work. So I've been kind of this might be actually a little silky. I'm not sure if this is going to felt, but I think we bought something and this was on it, so I threw it in with my needle felting stuff. Maybe we'll give that a try. But this is from my original kit that I got ages ago, so I know for sure that this works. So you do need, it needs to be 100% wool for it to work. And the reason why is that natural fibers like wool have basically little barbs on them, and then the more you agitate it, the more it sticks together. And that's kind of what's happening when you like put something hot that's wool in the wash, and it'll shrink up. It's actually the fibers rubbing against each other. So all right, so this is wool roving. This is exactly similar to what we used in our little unicorn here. So same sort of stuff. It is just like the carded wool, basically. So this is what spinners use to make their yarn. You know, they're just spinning it up like this and, you know, starting their yarn just by pulling and, you know, twisting. So if you have like a yarn, matching nail polish again. If you have a yarn vendor or something that you like, they might even sell wool roving like this. But a quick search on Etsy or Amazon or something, and you'll get a bunch of wool roving. But this is what people are making their wool yarn out of. It starts as wool roving like this. So the kit I originally got came with a few colors. Let's just play with. And then this is just some wool that I got at some point, wool yarn. So anything that's wool, you should be able to needle felt it. And you know, this is basically wool roving right here. So we can play with that as well. But why don't we take, maybe we'll just start with here. So I'm gonna grab a little bit off of here. You know, you can just pull little bits of stuff off of here. And we are going to needle felt it right onto this is a little, our little styrofoam here. And so here are, not needle turn, I keep saying needle turn, I mean needle felting. So here are some needle felting needles. So this is what they look like. They have a sharp point, and if you look really close, like maybe you can see in the light here, they have little itty bitty barbs on them. So first of all, it's very sharp, so watch yourself. And you can see little barbs as if they've cut little bits up into the metal. And that's really important because that's what's rubbing all these fibers together. So at its most basic, what we're doing is just agitating the wool so all the fibers stick together. So if we wanted to make, like, let's say we wanted to make a bird, you know, it's basically kind of like an oval and then a circle, and then we could add wings and a tail if we want. So if we want to do that, first I would kind of get my wool into a ball as much as I could. And then I just start hitting it with my needle. And you want to watch your fingers. Sometimes kits come with some leather things for your fingers. But I'm just poking. I'm just going straight down into my styrofoam here. So you can already see like where I've pushed down, those are fibers together. So if I keep turning this, then it should start to form a ball. So you're just tapping, tapping, tapping. Let's rotate it a bit. Let's tap a bit more. Rotate it this way a bit. And for a circle, we're just going to continue tapping all the fibers, keeping on rotating. And you can start to see fibers are starting to get bunched up together. And we're going to just continue that. So this is just one of the needles. You can there's actually things to go a little bit quicker. You can have, there's different holders. This is the clover holder, but you can actually buy like pretty wooden holders and stuff. But this one has 3 barbs in there. So in theory, it'll go even faster. So instead of just at one point, we're going through our piece, we're actually going through it at 3 points with the barbs. So every time we're putting a barb, one of these needles, through the wool, it's like rubbing the things together more and more. See, so now we're getting more of a ball. It's kind of poofy there. And we're just rotating. And so we can form shapes this way as well. Like right now I'm just rotating to make a ball, but you know, I could start making a cone or anything like that. I know, Sue, that might actually not be that bad of idea. And a lot of times you can use, let's see, I think I have a leather thimble somewhere here. Oh, maybe I don't anymore. But you can actually use like 2 leather thimbles. And I don't know where mine is. I usually have one in my go-to case here. But I don't think it's there anymore. But yeah, that's the one thing with needle felting, because this could go right through your needle, right through your fingers there. So yeah, you definitely have to pay attention. Don't look up at the TV when you're doing this. But there, so we have a little ball kind of started, and we can work on that ball a little bit more. But the neat thing is that you can just add onto it. So like, let's say I want a little bit of color. Let's say I'm making, you know, the bird's belly, and I want a little bit of color. So I'll just take a tiny little bit of red. Let's say I want him to have like a red belly. Do you use this technique to make felting, to make a purse? So no, for a purse, there is a different way of doing this that is basically similar. You're still agitating the stuff, but you can do, oh yeah, I can hold it down with the stiletto. Maybe I'll do that, Marianne. But for like a big purse, they would just take roving like this, lay it all out, and then they'd put it between 2 pieces of fabric or like a thin fabric, and then with hot water, they'll agitate it. So they'll get it really hot and then kind of agitate it, and that will start holding it together. And by doing that a few times, that's how they can make like a big piece of fabric that's all together, and then make the purse out of that. I have not done that before, but I think that's generally the way to do it. This is more for like sculpting little things. But yeah, so if I just want to add a color, yeah, maybe I'll just use another needle. There, I'm holding it down with the needle there. You know, I'm just sticking it right into the gray that I already have. So each time I push down, I'm pushing fibers more and more together, and it's going to get more and more solid. But see, there you go. Now I got this little cute red mark on here. So just like really quick, why don't we just give it a little head right there, and we'll really quickly have a little finished dude here. So I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to start by just agitating, poking through the this gray. I'm going to just put a little head there, and then maybe we'll do a little beak. And that's like a really, really basic needle turn. And then, I mean, you can get so super detailed. Like if you look at needle, I keep saying needle turn, I apologize for that. But if you look for, here, I'm going to try the stiletto. If you look for needle felting on Google or Etsy, you'll start to see some really detailed sculptures that you can do, or that people have made. So it's kind of crazy how into it you can get. And I mean, we're forming like a solid piece of wool here. So I don't want to hit, the problem is I don't want to hit my stiletto doing this, but I suppose this is, yeah, because I hit it just then. This is much better than me stabbing my finger for sure. Do you use this tech? Oh, okay, I answered that already. So again, we're going to make a smaller and smaller circle here. So I'm just keeping on rotating it because I want it to be like a sphere. So, but, you know, so here it's pretty solid, but here it's not yet. So I'm going to stab that little part down, get all those fuzzles in. All right, so there we go. We got kind of a little circle going. So why don't we attach that to the head here? So what I'm going to do is we're going to just start stabbing these together. Like I'm just stabbing the top circle into the bottom circle. Getting them together. And I'm trying to keep the two separate round shapes too. So like I'm trying to push in to kind of keep the shape of it. Ah, look, it's looking cute. So simple. It is, you know, slightly dangerous again because of the sharp needles. But this is a really fun way to start experimenting with sculpture or 3D objects. So there we go. That's pretty well attached there. So I think let's just, he's a little bloopy down here. Let's get those little fuzzles in a little bit more. But I mean, I could keep going with this. Like I could add a tail, I could add wings. Actually, I'll show you a way to do a tail and wings really easily in a sec here. That'll be kind of fun. Another way to do needle felting. But first, let's add, I want to get the bottom there. Okay, so there we are. It's so cute. Let's do a little beak real quickly. So I'm going to just take a tiny little bit of this orange. I'm going to kind of roll it up. I'm just kind of rubbing it in my fingers a little bit to get it started. Let's just set that on. I'm going to make this into a real, there, now I can do it without my fingers there at all. I can just kind of stab it all together. Now we can pick it up and we can rotate it a little bit. And I can actually let's start pointing it. I want it to be kind of triangular. So I'm gonna like, you know, every time it bloops out, like there it's blooping out. So let's squish it in that way. Maybe that'll make it more triangular. Squish it in this way. There's a lot of extra little fuzzles hanging out there. But there, I'm forming a little triangle here. There, let's pick it up. Oh no, Rosalie, I am not finished Heather yet. We're gonna work on that in a sec here. I'm just going on the other side real quick. Let's stab a little bit of that in. I don't want any of these extra little fuzzles hanging out. Oh, when you're doing little detailed pieces like this, it might be a good idea just to go to the single needle. You can form things a little easier. Actually, this feels like it's maybe not as sharp as it used to be. All right, I'm just gonna form the top a little bit. Anytime you wanna squish something down, just stab it again. So, all right, there we go. And now the same thing. I can just stick this, oh gosh, it's a little big, but I think it's kind of funny that way. We could go, I don't know, I kind of like it a little big. Well, let's see if we can shrink it by stabbing it a few more times. We'll squish it together even more. There, see, it's shrinking up. So the more we stab it, the more condensed everything gets, condensed the fibers get, and the more it shrinks. So there, we just shrunk up this little beak a little bit. So all right, let's stick that right there. It's gonna be a funny big beak, but I kind of like it. Again, we're just gonna stab it into the head. Now I'll get that other side a little bit, stab it into the head. And there we go. a little attached beak. Oh, it's so funny. Let's get the bottom. The bottom doesn't seem completely attached, so I'm going to just jab it in there. Maybe a little on top. Shape the head a little bit. All right, so there is our little beak in there. And okay, so another way you can do needle turn, actually I'm gonna throw while we're here. Ooh, I have some white and some black. I'm gonna do teeny tiny little eyes quick. So I'm gonna take the tiniest little piece of black, and you can actually glue little black beads in there, but I'm gonna just roll up this tiny piece of black roving, and I'm gonna stab it a few times just to get all the little bits together. Ooh, I'm kind of pushing it down into my piece. Let's see if I can pop that out. There, so I'm just gonna move it around so I'm not completely stuffing it down into that styrofoam. All right, but I can take this, stick it right where an eye would be, and then take my single needle and start stabbing that into place. Ooh, this needle is not working very well. I'm gonna actually, with this, it comes apart. And then you can take the separate needles out. This is a new thing, so my needles are really fresh. So there, now I have a separate needle, a single needle. I'm going to just stab that eye into place, which is just funny. But there you go. Itty bitty eye. Let's make one more. Again, a tiny, probably even less, tiny little piece of roving. Yes, exactly, Joyce. It's super duper quick too. So, and you know, I'm working in this amount of space too, so it's compact. It's a fun little deal, this needle turn. I think I have too much here. Let's get rid of half of that. Oh, thanks, Rosalie. My husband bought this for me at an antique shop once. I saw it today and I'm like, I'm gonna wear it. So we're gonna finish this guy up in the next few minutes here, and then I wanna go back to Heather, our little unicorn, and finish her up. So the little difference with her is that I don't want to stab it too much. Like, I don't want to sculpt her hair so much that you lose the fluffiness of the roving, right? So this one got a little fuzz there. This guy we are really agitating a lot. So it's becoming more and more compressed. Oh, you use what? You use a real firm, dense foam. Connie, that's probably a great idea. Real firm, dense foam. This is just what came with the kit I got. So yeah, I probably got some cheap kit, you know, like 10 years ago or something. So yeah, this probably isn't the best, this styrofoam. But just look for a kit. I'm going to stab this beak in a little bit more. I'm not convinced it's attached. But yeah, I have seen it with the dense foam as well. But yeah, that's quite possible that this could be dulling the needle. All right, so there is our little bird so far. So quick, right? You know, we just made 2 circles, and I think it might be Rosalie. Added a little color to it, even the little beak and eyes. So the other way that you might see needle turn a lot is by people making flat objects and then felting on top of it. Let's do that really quickly this might be a fun way. I actually haven't done this before, but this might be a fun way to do like some really quick wings. Oh, but here's what we're gonna do with the unicorn. So you can see that I just stabbed a few times, and just those few times is holding it down to the surface. So that's what I want to do. When I sculpt the hair, I'm going to want to stab it in a few places, and then let the rest kind of flow like this. Or like, you know, if this guy's poofed up too much, let's stab that in a little bit. And then we'll have like the flow of the unicorn. But right now, I'm just gonna stab this into a flat kind of shape. So I'm gonna just keep stabbing. I want a solid little shape here. And we're gonna actually cut out wings and a tail from this. And I think that'll be kind of a fun way to finish this little bird off. There, so just agitating it. Let's flip it around. There, so I'm kind of making just like a flat thing here. This is nice because I can keep my fingers out of the way. And again, the more you agitate it, the more you stab it, the more dense it's going to be. If you want it less dense, then don't stab it as much. If you want it more dense and smaller, then just keep going. All right, so we got a little thing going here. I'm going to grab a scissors and let's just, I don't know, let's cut it here. I'm going to add a little tail. There, that kind of looks like a tail, right? Oh, your friend cuts out a leaf shape. Oh, and then add roving on top of that. Oh, that's cool. So I'm going to actually, you know, I just cut off that piece. Let's add it back to this. I'm just going to make this area a little more dense. And now let's cut two little wing shapes out of here. There, we're going to make them like teardrop wings. Trying to make them kind of the same. Whoop, there we go. This guy looks like he could get some of his fuzzles stabbed a little bit more. There we go. All right, and then we can just take our little dude. Oh, these are kind of big for him. They're kind of way big for him. Let's make his wings a whole lot smaller. There, that looks better. Wing it. All right, that's a little bit better. So now, you know, just we can stab that on. I'm just going to stab right at his shoulder there. A few stabs should do it. Oops, stabbed myself a little bit. All right, there's one little wing. Let's get this other guy on over here. And kind of right at the neck. Get my fingers a little bit more out of the way this time. I'm giggling at every step here. All right, there's another little wing, and let's get this tail on, which might be huge. We might have to trim his tail up too. Yeah, that's just too big. We'll make a little kind of triangle guy like that, and let's just stab that on right there as well. But yeah, so we made a flat object and then just cut out the shapes. So you can get really nice crisp cuts that way too. But he's cute. All right, look, so there we are. We have our little little needle felted bird that we made super quick. I think maybe he's a little baby robin or something. His head's a little square, so I'm gonna just go into his 2 head points there, one there, and form him a little bit more. So you can just keep adding to it, keep shaping. This eyeball's a little weird. Let's see if I can stab it down a little bit more. All right, but there is a little needle felted birdie that we just made really quick here. So that's that. Patricia, we are just doing a little demo on needle felting. I'm getting a little picky now. I'm gonna just make the butt a little bit flatter. All right. I think the base of his belly a little bit more too. Trick is keeping your fingers out of the way. All right, I think that's pretty good. So there we go, a little birdie. So this is basically what we're gonna do to some extent for the little unicorn. So I'm gonna get him out again now. But that's the basics of needle felting. So there we go. And again, I put a little link to a needle felting kit that I found on Amazon and this clover pen with the 3 needles in there already. That's actually working really, really well for me now. Yeah, I'm totally, yeah, he should just sit like right there or something. But all right, so let's work on, Sue, I don't think it is. So the kit that I put in there, so it was a whole kit, including like little leather finger bits and a bunch of needles, and it came with like, I don't know, 12 things of roving as well, and it was only like $11 or something like that. So it is not expensive. This is a very kind of inexpensive craft to get into for sure. So all right, so here's the deal with my unicorn. For one, I gave him a lot of forehead here. So I want to remedy that by, I want to put his little bangs right here. So since our guy has a little bit of wool in it, this should work. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to hold down this big clump here, and I'm going to just kind of stab at the top of the head here. And just a few stabs. I'm trying to do it at the bottom because I don't want to stab a lot at the top because I don't want to mat this down. I want it to stay fluffy. So I'm just kind of going underneath and stabbing it into his forehead a little bit, so it stays in place. But there we go. See, I can't pull it out anymore. It's attached. You can see right here where it's attached. So there, that is sculpted. And I think I want it to come down a little bit here. So I'm going to just stab it in a little bit right there. Maybe a little bit right there. Maybe it's up too high, so I'm going to stab a little bit. But see, just that tiny little stab, and I shaped it a little bit there. Kima, you can try braiding it, but it is a little fluffy, so it's a little bit difficult to braid. But look, just a couple little stabs, and look, now I have bangs that are attached, like they're not coming off, and even a little bloop arc going on here. So this is really, you can really sculpt it. So all right, what I wanted to do next, so that was one of the main goals, was to get his little bangs attached up here, since I did start my roving a little bit low. So another thing that I want to do is I want all his hair to kind of cascade from this side over to this side and just be like really pretty, right? But right now it's sticking up like this. Joyce, it is difficult to undo felting. You can't really, I mean, I suppose you could pull at it. Let's see, where are my little pieces that I already did? Oh, this looks like one that I've tried at some point. I mean, you can kind of pull at it and kind of attempt to release the roving, but it's kind of like a wool sweater that you've accidentally washed in the hot water. I mean, you're not kind of pulling that off. So once you've done it, it's kind of set. So you do have to be aware of that, especially if you're sculpting something. So you might want to have extra roving just to keep adding. So you can keep adding, but yeah, subtracting or pulling stuff off is a little difficult. However, if you want something smaller, you can just keep stabbing it and it'll get smaller and smaller. But all right, so one thing, let's start off by, let's see. I'm gonna just maybe start at the under layers and work higher. So this guy, I maybe want attached here somehow. Maybe up a little higher so it looks like it's part of the bangs a little bit. So I'm gonna puff it up right there. And we'll stab it into the back of his neck a little bit. There, I'm gonna just puff it out there a little bit. All right, I like that. Let's have it come down like this a little bit. I am just trying to go underneath and attaching it just because then it can keep it fluffy on top. I mean, I can pull it out from this background a little bit, but if I'm agitating it a lot, then it'll be difficult to do. All right, so I have this kind of white over here and white over here. I kind of want to leave those separated and have this yellow in the middle. So why don't we bring this yellow down and this white, try and keep that a little separated. It's already kind of mashed together there. But that's kind of cute. So all right, let's get that in there. So I'm gonna just try and get underneath it again. Stab it into this purple and stab it into the back of the head. Kind of back of the neck. Watch for your fingers. And so I'm stabbing it. You can kind of see that I'm making a little dent. I can just fluff it up over that dent, but that dent is where it's held together. And I can kind of grab these ends, shape them, move them. I can stretch them out a little bit. Let's stab that in a little bit. So you can tell that I'm doing it a little bit differently than that little bird. I'm not stabbing a ton. I'm putting just a stab here and there where it's just needed to hold it down. So here, for example, this is way puffed up here. I'm going to put a few stabs in there again, kind of at the base, because then I can puff it up over it. But there, already it's holding down the shape a little bit better. And I do want it to kind of blend into this other yellow, so I'm going to stab the little ends here to hold it together. There, but see, now it's starting to hold that little shape. It's not puffing way out again. So let's get this pink. I want it stretched over here. Oh, there, that's looking cute. So it's swooping this way, this unicorn's hair. So I'm going to stab it into the back of the back of the neck again, just to kind of hold it in place. Anytime it's wanting to poof up, I'm just going to give it a little stab. We're just shaping it. But there, now already it's being held. Yeah, now she's looking more like she just didn't get right out of bed. So I can even go a little further. I can, if I want some of these things a little more pointy, I can just agitate them a little, or I can pull this white a little bit further down. If I want this to be one mass together, I can start adding a little stab here and there. But again, at this stage and with this unicorn, since I do want it fluffy still, you want to be careful. You don't want to do tons of jabs, because if I go like this a bunch of times, then it's going to get more and more condensed, like our little bird here. And I don't want that for the unicorn. I want it to stay fluffy and pretty. But look, with just a few stabs here and there, we've got a pretty formed hair that's still staying in place. So I love this little swoop. So there we go. So there's some of his top hair. I think it looks pretty nice over here. Let's just check over it a little bit. We've even separated the colors a little bit. But there, I don't know, I think that's looking pretty good. I kind of like this as a separate bang here, so I'm going to just leave that a little poof there. But there, I think I like that. I don't think I want to do any more with that. So I think we're gonna move on to the tail a little bit here. I think that's great. So all right, for the tail, I wanted a little kind of rainbow twist going. So first of all, the tail, all the colors are separated, right? I kind of want them squished together a little bit more like this. This would be a good place to start. And then I kind of want a little maybe twist to it. Actually, now that I went like this, maybe that's kind of cute. So I want it kind of a poof, and then maybe it comes together at a little point like that, right? So I'm gonna just start by kind of holding it in place, and let's just try and, I'm gonna actually do it on here just in case I hit the table. But I'm gonna hold it in that poof, and I'm gonna just stab it a few times. And I'm not really hitting anything, I'm just going through air right now. But again, any little agitation with these barbed needles, and it's going to start holding it together. See, it's already just a couple stabs. It's already wanting to hold this all together. So let's do this side a little bit. Maybe get this white separated. So I'm kind of, again, holding it in the shape. I want this white to stay up here, so let's add a couple stabs. Couple stabs down here. So I'm not doing a braided tail. It's actually, I think this roving would be pretty difficult to braid because it wants to hold together. It wants to rub up against each other, the fibers in it. So to separate it enough to braid, I think is going to be a little bit much. All right, we got a lot of purple here. Maybe I can shrink that a little bit by stabbing it a bit. But there, it's already more formed. All the colors are holding together a little bit more, but I like it. I think maybe we'll do a little twist. Little rainbow twist right here. So I have a lot of purple. I'm going to just pull out a little bit more of the yellow roving and maybe bring down some of this pink poof a little bit. And let's see what happens if we give it a little twist. We're hairdressing now. I kind of like it kind of twisting and maybe coming to a little bit of a point. So I twisted, I'm going to just hold that twist with a few stabs. And I think I want this tail to come to more of a point. So I'm just going to stab it into a point. A little less poof. Ooh, and it's wanting to untwist. So I'm just going to add a few stabs. Let's go to the other side and reinforce it over here. Get this pink to go downward. So you're just sculpting, like you're just forming stuff, and the more you stab it, the more it's gonna hold together. And a little purple end here, I think. Let's try and make that pointy. Since I want this tail to kind of hold together in this twist, I'm stabbing it a little bit more. But there we go. We kind of got our little twist going. It's definitely being held together. I like it. I'm not sure we need to do any more than that. So here it is from the top. Let's scooch this stuff away. We got a little bit of the twist in there. I like all the pink. I think that's kind of fun. And a little bit of the twist over here. It's so silly. I like it. So I think I might actually want it down a little bit more like this. So I'm going to go on the underneath side by all this yellow and kind of stab it a few times right at the base to kind of hold it down a little bit against the butt a little bit. And I think that will just make it go downward a little. So there we go. Yes, styling. There. So we got a little rainbow thing going here. I think a little twist going. I like that. I'm going to stab this in a little bit more here. There's a little funny poof. All right, I like that. Let's check out this side again. I think that's looking pretty good. A little poof. I like them. And then, you know, I think I might just make this a little more pointy here too. We'll just agitate it a little bit. This is strangely relaxing, but there we go. I think that looks pretty good. I especially love this little swoop that we have going on here. But, you know, again, check it from all angles. Make sure you like it. But there, I think we did it. I like it. And, you know, then we can have his little friend here. He doesn't quite match, so maybe I won't put him, you know, I don't know. Maybe I will put him with it. Let's put him... I think we're going to hide him on this side. He's going to be the little friend on this side. So I'm going to just stab him into the unicorn to the back a little bit a few times. This I could probably pull out if I wanted to with just a couple stabs if I don't stab it a ton, but he's kind of cute. He's part of this project now, right? So we're going to get him in there. But there we go. Now he's attached as well. So we got the unicorn, we got Heather and her little buddy hanging out here. Oh, goofy. All right. So there we are. And I think we're going to call it a night a little bit early. So I will flip it around and you guys can, I'll show you guys this, you know, with a human body next to it. And then tomorrow we will continue on the I Love Home block that we didn't finish. So we have block 4, and then next week we'll be getting the instructions for the sashing and for the border. All right, he's pretty funny. All right, I'm going to flip you guys around and we'll call it an evening. Oh, Heather and Henry. I like that, Sue. So it's Heather and Henry. All right, hello again, guys. So here we are. Oh, see there. Now you can really see how sculpted it ended up being. But we still haven't lost the poof. Like it still feels like we got a poof of roving. But yeah, just a little bit of that needle felting, a little bit of that goes a long way. I mean, we really formed his hair a little bit more. Like, go back. Oh gosh, I forgot about him already, Henry. So just go back to some of the other, or to the beginning of this video and just see how poofy it was and all over the place. But yeah, just a little bit and we got him totally styled there. Even got a little bang swoop. I like it. So awesome, guys. Again, the kit for this is in the link here. It is by Heidi Boyd. It's her unicorn kit and everything is in here. All the roving, all the stuffing, felt, needles, pins, everything to make the little unicorn. I love her so much. Oh, and then little Henry there as well. So awesome, guys. I will get this up on YouTube. And this is the end of our little unicorn project. I'm kind of sad. I want to make another one now. I'm having a lot of fun with the hair. But we'll have to do needle felt again, I think. It was fun. I mean, just in that really short, in a half hour or 20 minutes or so, we made this tiny little bird. And, you know, that's kind of neat. This would be great for ornaments. So at this point, I could take a needle and put a thread through here and then turn it into an ornament if I wanted, because it's solid enough that you can actually stitch onto it at this point as well. But all right, guys, I will get this up on YouTube at Penguin and Fish Movies, and it will stay here on Facebook as well. And again, one more reminder that my little Penguin and Fish sale is happening. So if you order $40 worth of Penguin and Fish items tonight through 10:30, so just one more hour yet, then you get a special surprise gift with purchase that's worth at least $20, more like $30. So I will pick that out for you and you'll get that with your order. So awesome, guys. Thanks again. I will catch you tomorrow. Good night.